of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our Supreme and Master Speakers Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Circa Barrakiel, Remy Asalia, Arcadia Lunashine, Alex Franco AV, Winebow Brood, Psyche, Asuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimsdaughter, Nat Clay, Lily Black, Bob Cece, Mikta Rabentau, Sapa Chakwatol, Edwin, Umbral Wind, Quick Levin, Pamela Isley, Camille Grino, Elenriel Maximus, Codrith Novelist, Mira Miri, Babe Arbale, Suno Chicano, Celeste Noitrell, Lazy Boy, A Bag of Dragonite, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Stormarrow, Tex, Yowie Wowie, Kai Lin, AJ Brainswordson, Anathus Moonscar, Arthur Law, Biridan Derard, Sidepup, Spencer Christmas, and Noy Fafnir. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Eorzeans. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 292. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and today I'm joined by Mail Lavanadar and Georgi Whiston. That's right, it's us, the three of us again. What's
Rollo's moving.
Rollo's moving.
The other one.
The other
He's
one.
found a new house again.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Really. He's not.
No. He'll be back next week for sure. But yeah, so you'll have to deal with us today. This is episode 292. It's March 26th, and the year is 2022, just in case you were wondering.
Well, only according to the Gregorian calendar.
That is true. According to other calendars, we are in many different years. Isn't there a calendar where we're like in year 10,000 and some crazy shit?
Yeah.
Which is like based on when humanity like grew a brain?
Yeah.
That's when we got brain.
10,000 years ago.
10,000 years ago, brain
Before
happened.
that, we had no brain.
And that's
We
when
were
they're
just
like, yeah, what?
We're currently in the fourth year of the Reiwa era.
Oh,
That
there you
one. Yeah.
I had to
So,
look that up.
yeah, cool.
go. Fourth year of the Ray-Ban era.
Great
That's amazing.
news.
Mhm.
Huh? Yes. Anyways, that's the year. Today's main story is actually a great discussion. It's something we've sort of talked about, but never had the time to really go into. The great discussion today: what if Endwalker was 2 expansions, and what would that mean? So make sure you catch that. Of course, you want to watch the whole show. We'll also talk about 6.1 and the website, because it's been updated. It's actually a website. And we'll be reading your MogMail, Speaker 6. Well, actually, the website is down as we're live. But it will be up again when you're watching this on YouTube. Speakersxv.com/MogMail tomorrow. It'll be up again tomorrow. Stay tuned for the post show. We'll be reading questions from the syndicate. Yeah, that's the show. Let's jump into Récent Yvon. Whew. It has not been a very eventful week, but we do have a website update. So here it is, the website. It's kind of stretched and weird, but don't worry about it.
I was going to say, is this always going to be a thing where it's like
Yes.
sort of compressed?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. Okay, yes. So there it is. Let's jump into it. Coming mid-April. Turn now the first page.
Is that-
What?
I was going to ask, is that new?
Turn. I think everything here is new. There was like nothing here originally,
It
other
was
than
just
the
a
list.
bullet point list.
Turn now the first page. Brave the Great Unknown.
What could that mean?
Ooh.
The new world.
Yeah. We got one new photo, which is of old man Louis Swaffriend, whose name I
Who's
of course
looking
don't remember.
particularly fabulous.
Monteshane.
like being squished.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks very svelte, very healthy.
Yeah.
Yes, very healthy. There's a little blurb here. With despair silenced and hope restored, the scions of the Seventh Dawn step back into the shadows, their star's hero to don the mantle of simple adventurer once more. Eager heart, never idle. 'Tis not long before the warrior of light hearkens unto journey's call. Just a whole lot of nothing. Thank you very much.
Nope.
Yeah, pretty much.
You'll get no information from us.
Yeah. So nothing.
Still the warrior of light,
Yeah.
but everyone's forgotten everything we've done, and we're just an adventurer now. Hopefully,
I don't
don't
think-
mention us as like famous anymore because we're trying to get rid of that status.
Yeah. For new
Hey, I am surprised Y'shtola is coming back into the story so quickly.
That is true. Yeah, I suppose that's worth mentioning. Why she
Oh,
there
yeah.
as well.
True.
And in Charlayan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, yeah, interesting.
It is interesting. There's not much more to like get out of this.
No, we've dissected the other pictures already.
Yeah. For new challenges, we have the Minstrel's Ballad, End Singer's Aria.
Goth.
Yeah, got a picture of the End Singer. Had the End Singer succeeded in gathering but a few more stars worth of despair, or even that of a few more souls, might the darkness you have faced have been so deep, not even the light of hope kindled by your comrades could... Sorry. Why is it all written like this? Like, as if it's written by a bard. Like, well, this one actually makes sense. It's a minstrel's ballad, but, like, everything here is so cryptically written.
Secret messages.
Not even the light of hope kindled by your comrades could pierce it. So muses the wandering minstrel, and by his consummately evocative words, you find your mind set adrift amidst that unsettling possibility, where you can rely upon naught save your own conviction to overcome the ultimate incarnation of despair.
I guess for the second phase, we won't get all those lines that we got from the signs we did the first time.
Right.
Well, that phase has to be taken out.
Yeah.
Well, not taken out. It can be changed.
Can be changed.
I'm not super excited for anything extreme.
Yeah, I'm alright. It'll be fine. It'll be
It
fun,
was a good,
probably.
like the start of the fight was good, and there was some interesting mechanics. But the whole like last half when it turns into a story section,
Yeah.
That has to be fully reworked.
I think that's generous to say that that's a half. I feel like that part lasts like a minute or two.
Yeah.
Feels like forever.
Yeah.
Really?
Depends on this.
I haven't played this fight since
yeah.
I did it the first time.
I like the planet
essentially.
section
Yeah.
because once you know, and then everyone else doesn't know.
Yeah.
And then it's funny.
I still don't think I know.
Well, you just got to see which one's going fast and work out where it will collide.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the hard part. Where will it collide?
Okay, well, there you go. Minstrel's Ballad and Singer's Aria. And then the Imperium. Thanks to tireless volunteers from near and far, Ishgard's once ruined firmament now boasts a host of facilities, including a brand new residential area, Imperium. Imperium. For some reason, I can't say it anymore. I literally just said it. During the first round of sales, empty plots will be distributed via lottery system. So those who yearn to live amidst the grandiosa is a pizza here. Amid the grandiose stonework of Ice Crown City Estate will want to visit the plaque of their favorite property to enter.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I thought that as well, Likil. Grandiosa is a pizza brand in Norway. But I didn't feel the need to point it out.
I don't know. I just felt like it was important to point out. Okay, well there you go. Imperium. It's coming.
Imperium.
Imperium.
The grandiose stonework pizza.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about all the snow being on the ground. I get it because it's Ishgard, but like, I don't know. Clean up your housing district.
It's nice to have a different texture of grass on the plots.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I like that it's less vibrant.
Yeah, that's true.
I like the look of it. I feel like It's hard to decide on this one because Ishgard does have a bleakness to it, but I do like Ishgard. I'm gonna try and get a plot. I think we were talking about this the other day on Friday. I don't think I've actually been here yet, like to explore.
Took me a while to go there.
Yeah, I just forgot they added it, and I don't think I've actually gone around to look through.
We
it
went
to
just.
decide.
I think we
only went to the firmament or whatever.
Yeah, I
and
think
looked
so.
at what the plots were there.
You should take your pictures while you can, Mailer, before all the Paisa and carbuncle houses sprout up from the ground.
Yeah,
really a carbuncle.
And it's not ruined by all. It's not ruined by all the hideous the decorations that are in the firmament.
Oh, they're nice.
No, they aren't.
The balloons. Oh yeah, no, you love
the balloons.
Yogi, they're going to add a celebration balloon themed house, and it's just a massive. The walls are all those balloons.
Yeah, like a fate
the roof.
Skin. Yeah. Okay. So 6.1. So this is, by the way, this is 6.1. So this is patch content. So for those, this is you need to prepare now if you want a house here.
I'm surprised that it's 6.1.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have
always
been
risky when they do
6.11.
that. Yeah, it's very risky when they do it on patch.
And that
I thought
usually
they'd learnt.
But remember that there's a lottery system this time around, so you don't have to
that's
stress
true.
about it. You just have to make sure you have money now, because I don't know when they do the lottery. Like, when do they?
They've
once
gone
every
through
week.
that.
Once every week. Okay.
Yeah, they've had a 17-minute PowerPoint.
They
presentation on this.
did, but I guess that didn't. So there's one house every week.
No.
All the plots.
So it's all sold in a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So okay, that's right. Okay, and that's all I needed to clarify. I'm clarify. If I don't understand it, then there's a
that would be
percentage of
so
viewers
funny.
that don't understand it as well. All right.
This week, plot 36 will be chosen to go for lottery.
Plot 36, subdivision 21.
Oh god, yeah, yeah. On
Nightmare.
Ragnarok.
That's how, if Tomiko was still in charge, that's how it would be. All right, moving on. There's some media. I don't know if there's anything new here that we haven't seen.
No. It's just the pictures that we already
Yeah, it's
seen.
just the pictures, so.
There's nothing here.
There's really nothing. So that's 6.1, the website.
Yeah. I don't think they added anything else to the
It's just the good old list that we've seen before. So, yeah. 6.1 of course coming out. Do we have the
We
date?
don't have a date.
Mid-April.
No, we don't.
Mid-April.
Yeah.
We're guessing. We are currently guessing that it will be the 12th of April, because that is approximately 2 weeks after the live letter.
Yeah.
But they could surprise us.
They could.
I think the 19th.
You think it's later?
The nice thing about the 12th as well, Mailer, is that it's a month after they started the Moogle Tombstone event.
That is true. 12th would be much better than...
I do agree with Mela that there might be, because they always want to push to the as late as possible every time.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
But
it would be nice
I
if
want
it's
the 12th
because we get the long Easter weekend as well.
Yeah. Okay, more on 6.1 next week, because that's the live letter. So we'll be covering that, of course, as well, and we will have a big live letter special, as usual, following that. So moving on to something...
Please be about the length of previous live letters. I've liked these shorter ones.
Yes. And this one is not translated either, I think, so it won't last for 6
more
years.
merch,
I do hope there's more merch. I don't think we're getting any translated ones until whatever the next expansion starts coming around.
Right.
Yeah, FanFest.
Yeah, possibly. All right. Now to something really odd. There's a punishment in the game. I'm just going to read. This is a post on the subreddit, which I don't even know why they did this, but someone has done this. I'm just going to read the post, and then you'll understand. I haven't hit this before, but I know it's happened to people before, so wanted to make note of it here, since no one has really documented it online properly. And prior to this, I think I've only ever seen it documented on Umadori with the actual in-game text, but in Japanese. Apparently, it only really happens with dungeons and trials/raids It only happens with dungeons, and trials/raids are not part of this. As I recall doing plenty of T2 Eden in one day without anything like this. It's been going on for a long time now, since A Realm Reborn, or Mid A Realm Reborn at least, and even more recently with people unrestricted partying, Relics, or Aurum Vale at the moment with Blue Mage. I believe the penalty doesn't reset either until next daily reset. Someone else could probably test so we can get more data, maybe with a quick dungeon like Aurum Vale. Okay, so essentially, after you hit 100 dungeons in one day, the game will incur a penalty which locks you out from the duty finder.
Only dungeons.
Dungeon, like they said, only dungeons. And it does not reset again until the following day when the daily reset occurs. What an odd limitation to put on. And it literally, you can't clear it. Like it's there, and then you need to wait for the reset. I mean,
in chat is saying it's anti-bot behavior. Oh, like anti-bot technology.
That's what I was going to get onto here. Yeah, because I was okay. We revealed it too quickly, but I was going to be like, oh, how mysterious. Why does this get bots?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's bots. Yeah, it's to stop bots. Because think about it, 100 dungeons in 24 hours in this game via the duty finder. First of all, essentially impossible if you are not undersizing it, because you have the queue times, you have to deal with other players. Yeah, so but it is funny to like, you have played too much, and the people that are getting like hitting this punishment are blue mages mostly, because they quickly run through dungeons when they farm. So. And of course, it also makes sense that this is not including trials, because trials are way shorter. It's much easier to do 100 trials in a day than
As someone, the top comment for this post on the subreddit said, it's essentially the developers telling you to go touch grass, or as I said yesterday, eat grass.
Yeah, Georgi. And I just want everyone to know who watched the stream last night. I want you to know that Georgi didn't make that as an actual joke. He was just saying it. He said, eat grass. Then I just giggled afterwards. I'm like, weird. And then it's like, I can't find like a GIF for this. I'm like, GIF for eating.
I wanted the origin of the meme.
Well, the origin is what it was. And I'm like, what are you looking for? For eat grass? And he's like, oh, touch grass. I think eat grass is funnier. Be a cow, eat grass.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also, I guess, a thing. If you are doing 100 dungeons a day,
not sure.
You should touch grass.
What is this picture you found in the background of a Kundra doing Sastasha?
I just thought it was funny because it's Sastasha.
Isn't this like an old UI as well with all?
It is. It was
Very
really
old
hard
UI.
finding just a picture of the duty finder because it's changed so much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the picture that was posted is not this. That you made
No.
this.
Yeah. So
With all the guild tests underneath, and
yeah.
This is very old.
Yeah.
yeah,
I found one that showed, because if you notice, there's no roulette.
no,
No,
There's no
Disgusting.
roulette. This is like launch duty finder. So yeah.
this is horrible.
this one.
Launch. This was horrible, Mela. When I first
You should
joined
have
the
to go
game,
to the entrance to the dungeon as well.
when I first joined the game, Mela, it took me hours to get into Aurum Vale. And you know what? The party I got didn't clear the dungeon.
That is
That's how it should be.
a very
That's
sad story.
Good MMO design.
Oof. It was very nostalgic looking for duty finder footage, because then I started finding ones
I love the old UI.
with the when the roulettes were first introduced, and they were like remember, that's not that long ago. Low level, high level. They were like weird.
I
Didn't
missed
mean
the
anything.
2-row menu in the bottom right.
Oh yeah, the
Remember?
the buttons. Oh yeah,
When the
God,
buttons had 2
everything
rows.
had a
that's
button.
just- no, don't.
Everything
That
had a
was so
button.
good. Good time.
That was such a holdover from one.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for recent events, and that means it is time to jump into MogMail. right, we'll start with this MogMail from a Sony Mog from Genova.
Oh,
I was listening to some of your recent discussions on the 12, and frequently you were talking about how if the 12 were Azem and friends, how did it go from people to gods? My thought was that it could be a function of how long ago that was. It would date before the first calamity, which was 10,000 or 15,000 years ago. That is a long time for a game of telephone to turn some strong, really knowledgeable people who came around and helped us after the Sundering to gods came around and helped us. And I think the same reasoning could explain Dalamud on Minfinia's symbol. It has been 5,000 years since the fall of Alag, which is roughly all of recorded human history on Earth. So it seems reasonable that some follower of Minfina could have thought, hey, she's associated with the moon, but there are 2 moons, so maybe I'll just stick the second one on there too.
yeah.
The issue with Minfina that you might not know, Sony, is that the symbol for Minfina has been the 2 moons since the Allegan period.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that may be retconned, or that may get an explanation in this raid series, but that's why we were questioning that.
Yeah, and we also sort of have in game lore, because I think it is officially retconned. I don't think you can find any mention of the Allegan rune stones with Minfina on it in the game right now.
Okay.
Going by the game's canon lore, this could make sense. I mean, it does make sense because it has to. That's the way it has had to have happened.
I hope they retcon it so Dalamud was always there. And the Allegans didn't put it there. And they just ruin all that lore. Why not?
Now that is some complicated
That would be
retcon,
a bold move.
which would destroy so much lore and logic.
Yeah, I mean, that was established in both raid series in 2.0.
Yeah, that would be interesting, Mela, but I don't think that would be very helpful for the game's
Obviously
lore. That would just make pretty much all the lore books useless.
There's
in some case.
there's no reason for it. It's because they didn't know what Dalamud was until later.
So,
They
but
changed what it
in
meant.
game lore, I think what they're saying in this MogMail is likely what happened. Because they're like, Minfina the moon and Dalamud the lesser moon was like a thing. So,
Was Dalamud always planned to be an Allegan construct, or was that something that came about once Yoshi P?
I think he added that in later.
Ooh. I don't think originally in 1.0, Alag
was it not just meant to be another moon? Like just an actual moon?
You're asking
Was it
me
always
old
artificial?
questions that I need to dig up in my brain. No, they were. It was a moon that was. I think it was artificial. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be artificial from the beginning. But I don't quote
Like
me
we
on
knew
that.
it was Allegan.
Not Allegan. That's the thing. It's
Okay.
they MSQ never got very far. But the lesser moon, I think we know that they intended to bring this into the story at some point in the original 1.0 story. Zonde was in the...
There's Allegan in 1.0. Because he had his
Yes.
tomb thing.
Zonde's tomb...
explicitly...
He was the
Allegan?
Emperor of Alag, yes.
Okay.
It wasn't the original idea, or at least maybe this is something you theorized, and I've considered it canon because of that. Wasn't the idea that Zande's tomb was supposed to be the original entrance to Crystal Tower if it was implemented in 1.0?
Yeah, that's sort of like... I don't think it was ever fully confirmed, but it is the only thing that the community thought made sense. It's more of a community theory, I think, because Eric talked about the monk job leader man. Before the calamity, he talked about something being under the underground. And he talked about it in relation to Zande's tomb, that it was linked to that. So it makes... I think Zande's tomb would have led to the entrance of Crystal Tower. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Again, there is an episode on the Allagan Empire for Remnants of a Realm, actually, that goes in depth about how Allag was described in 1.0. Spoiler. I'm not going to spoil it because it's an actual video. So go to our channel, speakersxiv.com/ no, youtube.com/speakersxiv.
No.
And just, I think you can just search for Allagan Empire or Allag or something, and you'll find it. Okay. Thank you, Asoni.
Sony.
I think we kind of agree with what you propose.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. Next question. We're going to jump to this one. This is from Miles Sainsborough from Balmung.
Oh, you skipped one.
Yeah, because we're doing that for the great discussion. Hi, speakers.
Sorry, I didn't.
I'll keep this brief. Endwalker used gameplay and story integration with good effect, like being turned into frogs to trail an NPC, staggering and moving sluggishly from ether sickness after the experimental teleport, and not regaining HP or retaining your job skills when you're temporarily in someone else's body. It's not often that status effects are used to enhance the storytelling, and I really loved how it affected how we interacted with the world. I would love to see this be done again for future story quests. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yes.
I really like
Absolutely.
this. I like it when they experiment with like debuffs.
I'd like them to do it more in side quests. Because that's where you're meant to experiment with
Yeah,
new ideas, and side quests in this seem to be much more generic than the MSQ.
yeah.
Have that thing from what's he called? Arguth Thadalfus, or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah,
Where you get
temporary
the
misdirection.
yeah.
where you get the thing above your head that spins around. You have to press forward when.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was fun. I like that.
There are a lot of like the soul thing was really mind-boggling in Alamigo. With
Oh
Hojo.
yeah, that was.
I keep
really
calling him
good.
Hojo, but I don't even remember what
He
his
is
name
Hojo.
is anymore. That was really good, and that was reused.
Owlus.
Yes, and that was reused in the Halloween event.
Yes, it was.
The out of body thing
Yes.
when you get hit in the second fight, I think.
That was a good event.
Yeah, or was it the last fight? Actually, might have been the last fight. Some
S-rank that uses the Argath mechanic.
Oh,
I didn't know.
Is that?
That's
Oh, that's
interesting.
really cool.
I didn't know that.
I will say I don't think that's the right sort of content
I kind of
for
like
something like that.
the chaotic nature of that.
I like
though.
it being in the overworld. Yeah.
I like in the overworld, but the amount of people, God,
Yeah,
you wouldn't know what's going on.
That'll make it fun.
yeah.
I think I've only done one S-rank in Endwalker still.
I've done a couple. I've done the SS rank.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
I haven't.
it's not
done,
very interesting.
I don't
It's
think I've
kind of
done a
rubbish.
single hunt. Yeah. I don't think I've done any hunting, and well, we've probably passed an A rank at some point and done one, I'm sure, but I haven't done any off stream. Yeah, no, I mean, it's good, and it shows.
I'm trying to think of.
Yeah,
I'm
go
trying to think. I'm trying to think of the first instance of them doing this. I remember in Ilmeg when you find when the zone is still covered in all the fog,
Mhm.
and you're trying to find the fairies or pixies, I should say.
Yeah.
If you do the wrong thing, you would get like a heavy debuff.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that one lasted a long time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and in even in Sestasha, you get poisoned if you pick the wrong coral.
Oh, true. That's true.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah. I don't think there's any escape from the heavy either in the fairy quest, the MSQ one. You get it anyways. It shows when they do like really good debuffs, like thrown out like the soul thing and the confusion thing. It shows that there's slowly, even though we're 10 years into this game, they have come out of the spaghetti mess that they were in, because you mentioned Sestasha, but all you really get is a poison debuff applied, which is very simple, and now we have a lot more complicated debuffs that we get. Also, we could probably mention like NPC, like roleplay. Roleplay thing is technically a buff when you're playing as another character, which
And that's very story.
and that's we get that a lot.
I
which
wouldn't mind that being used in dungeons.
oh Okay.
Maybe for like one fight, so it's not like annoying.
Oh yeah,
but-
like imagine like a boss, and then there's like some other monsters there, and then you can take over the body of one of the boss like monsters, and then you play as that
Yeah.
monster in the fight.
I mean, yeah, I think that's similar to the third boss in the Tower at Paradigm's Breach, where you get briefly turned into the little ship.
True. That's true. Yeah. So
Like, it would be nice to have something that has more mechanics than that, but like,
yeah.
I think that's a start.
Yeah. Or like when there was that the big thing where we went between the different characters role playing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, at the end of Shadowbringers.
Yeah, when it was like zoomed out onto the map, you could have a dungeon where we're going along with other people, and then for one boss, it like zooms us out, and we play as them through that boss.
Did you see? I don't know. I just as a side note, when you talk about that fight, because I don't know if this was real or not, but there's someone I saw this on Twitter. So shout out to you. Their character is literally called Graha Tia. They got the name, and when you know that point where you're supposed to play as Graha Tia in that fight,
Yes.
the game got confused and didn't know what to do. So it says, in the following battle, you will play as you.
Oh, wow.
Because he thought, oh, that's Graha Tia. I thought it was really
That's
funny.
weird.
That's a way to fuck up the game. It's weird
But
that they don't
surely
reserve the name.
Yeah, wouldn't they just point to? Why didn't they just type Grahatia rather than like pointing to an NPC name?
I don't know. Maybe that's how it's easy. Like it's like shorthand. Like you can just do string character, and then it's just I don't know. But I thought that was funny. And also, why aren't they reserving the names for like NPCs?
Oh,
like
that's
how
true.
can someone be called Graha Tia? Like. Anyways, thought it was funny. Like I said, more buffs, please. More
of that.
creative debuffs and buffs, please. All right, moving on. Thank you, Miles. Next question. This is from Trinity Rain from Cactuar. Hello, speakers. I have a question about the 14. The following was an explanation from Emmett in Elpis. Former category, Metron, specialist in aquatic life. Logrif, specialist in terrestrial life and husbandry. Halmarut, specialist in fungal and plant life. Emeraloth, specialist in medicine and healing. La Habrea, creation magics. And then later category, Ultima, advocate of the arts. Igiorm, champion of enlightenment and rhetoric. Pashtarot, preserver of discipline and order. Emmet Selk, keeper of the Ether Oak Realm or Underworld. Fandaniel, peruser of extant phenomena. And Azem, traveler of the world and counselor to the people. So my question is, have we dealt or met all of the 14 now? Excluding Azem, of course. I do not recall Ultima, Pashtarot, Emeraloth, Hammerut. Unless one of these is Nabrialis. If we have dealt/met with them, can you remember when? I can't. Bonus question. Was Nabrialis part of the 14, or does he have a different name in Emmett's explanation? Thanks again.
There's only
Trialis
10
is part of
people
the
there.
14.
Sorry, what did you... Sorry,
There's
what?
11 people there, actually.
Yeah.
Nabrialis is part of the 14.
Yeah, 11.
As is Elidibus, who's not mentioned there, and there's one more that's not mentioned there, but I can't remember who it is because it's not someone that's come up in the story yet.
Right. Pashtarot, we've seen... He's the guy who talks at the end of A Realm Reborn? Question mark? Which I don't think we meet again. And... I don't remember if we've met any of the others that they listed. Halmarut.
Specialist in fungal and plant life. I don't think Halmarut has come up. We actually have proposed something like this as Dudalaphon. That's it.
Yeah.
I believe Dudalaphon. It's not mentioned there, but I think Dudalaphon was supposed to be like the head of the police force of the ancients. I think is
okay.
what the current law states, but I could be confusing him with Nabrialis, who also doesn't get given an explanation there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there are people we've not.
So there are people we haven't met, and I wouldn't say we've met Pashtarot because
No.
we've seen him in Asian form in what is, I think we can safely say, a retconned situation at the end of A Realm Reborn. I don't think that has any meaning anymore. So, yeah, he even speaks in a language that doesn't exist, according to was it Oda, or was it Koji Fox, or was it Yoshi P? Someone was like, no, that was a different time. we stopped doing that weird language thing with them. Yeah.
Concerning the other ones that you mentioned, Trinity, Emeroloth died or was killed quite a while ago because they're part of the Eureka storyline as an Ascian that was already dead.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done Eureka, and I don't blame you if you haven't, that might be why you haven't encountered them.
Yeah.
I mean, most of these are gone now.
That's true.
Logarith is still around.
Yeah.
But she's not doing much.
No.
No.
And it's interesting, as a specialist in life and husbandry, I don't think Gaia will...
I don't think the current Gaia has that much interest in it.
No.
So it shouldn't really fit the bill that much, but whatever.
No. Yeah, so there you go.
Ultima? Where's Ultima?
Yeah, Ultima...
involved?
Ultima and Pashrot have not appeared since that one cutscene.
No.
Because Advocate of the Arts is interesting.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Do these line up with any of the 12, by the way? Like, can we look at these and say, like, this lines up with 12? Aquatic is like water.
Yeah. I mean, Halmara could be Lim Lane, because anyone who worships her is pretty fungal, in my opinion.
What the fuck does that mean?
You monster.
All right, Jesus.
What? Like a plague on our Aortian society.
Okay, so we're against the Minsons
Ultima.
now.
I think Ultima's mask was shown to be one of the ones that Gaius had.
Oh.
Did he go through them, though? Did he actually go through them?
No, he didn't say them, but I think...
comment?
No, I thought it was... It could have been a Yoshi P comment, but I thought it was because people matched up Ultima's mask with what she wore during that cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's fair.
Yeah. But then, yeah, Yoshi P also made it clear that we don't know if they're actually dead, because you know how complicated it is to actually kill an Ascian. So...
Oh, yes, he did... Yoshi P did explicitly say who those masks belonged to. Yeah, it was Ultima and Judalafon.
Yeah. Okay, there
I
you go.
do remember that now.
Yeah.
But don't ask me to find it, because I can't remember where it is.
Okay. So there you go. That's thank you to Trinity Rain. All right, we're gonna do one last MogMail, and then we will get into the great discussion. This one from Nashu Kachik from Zodiark. Do you think that in upcoming patches, or maybe 7.0, there will be an option implemented for new players to start the game at 7.0 or wherever the new arc begins, given that it's going to be a whole new story? I know that resetting character progression would be unrealistic and essentially constitute creating an entirely new game, so I understand why they aren't doing that. However, I am concerned that the filter of A Realm Reborn for new players is still going to plague this game going forward. And although going through the Hydaelyn Zodiark storyline is a great experience, it seems more and more unreasonable to expect new players to play through so much content to get to endgame, going into future expansions, or cough up the cash for a story skip. I like the fact they are moving towards making the Hydaelyn Zodiark story more playable from a solo perspective to bring in Final Fantasy fans generally, but it would seem logical to me to implement a system where new players who want to be closer to current content to start with the second story arc and have New Game Plus for the Hydaelyn Zodiark arc built in for them to use as they wish. Love your show, and curious what your thoughts on this are and the new player experience going forward as things get more and more bloated with good content, of course. Yeah, this is...
We've talked about this before.
We have, definitely.
We have talked about it.
I don't think they... I think we might have ended up with the best option might be to just include a free skip when you buy the expansion, and then it's an optional choice for the new players.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they can't make the whole story like twice for like dialogue for if you have done it and if you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have to
I
assume
think it
you've
would
done
be cool.
everything. God,
It'd
that would be
make
a
the
lot
like.
of work.
It would be a lot of work, but it would make the whole first part of like everything up until now like a new 1.0 for them.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's true. I can imagine them like, because we have the new game plus system in the game. I can imagine at some point, maybe 7.0, maybe 8.0, they implement a menu that comes up when you create a new character where they show you the expansions and then you just pick which one you want to start in. And then it'll just complete the story up until that point. That would be and I don't like the idea that they're giving you a jump potion that skips all of the expansions, because maybe you just want to start in Heavensward. Like, you don't want to do the horrible A Realm Reborn MSQ. You want to just get into Heavensward. You don't get that option if they just include a story skip potion.
I don't disagree with that. I just worry that that might be too spaghetti for them to implement.
Yeah, true, but I'm very impressed with the new game plus system that even works. So if they can do that, it might not be that difficult for them to do that. I don't know. But I definitely think they have to do something. And I think if they're doing something, it's going to happen in 7.0. I don't think that's going to be a 6.x patch. It's a
I would
pretty
rather
big
them do it
change.
as like this free skip, though, just because I want to go into this with every character knowing me and like the assumption that I've done everything so far. They can't like make the story like so fresh that we have to meet every new cast member again for like new players as well. Like Shoulder should still be involved in whatever.
Oh, well, so
all the characters should still be involved.
Yeah, go on, Gary.
I would say there's certain characters they couldn't really write twice.
No.
In the sense of like someone that either know you really well and some people that don't know you. I think Alizé and Graha in particular would be very difficult to write two sets of dialogue depending on whether you are
100%.
this 100% new adventurer up until that point or someone that's played the whole game.
Because I don't think you need to rewrite anything. You know what you're doing when you're skipping expansions.
Exactly.
They're just going to carry on as if you've already done the previous stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be very difficult to catch up with a lot of these characters. But if you want to do that,
but that will be on you. Yeah.
That is true. They're adding the unending codex, so
that's true.
That is going to be helpful as well.
True.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't be against them doing this, but I think it is way too much work and it's hard to justify. I think it would be cool if you could jump in with a new character and the game treats you like a new person at like 7.0. I think that would be like interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's very like plausible.
That is a lot of rewriting and additional. I don't think they're going to do that.
And I think the majority of the player base wouldn't even get to experience.
Right, that too. It's like exclusive
only for
to
new
like
people.
skippers.
But then,
it's
I guess it makes it fun that you can go through the expansion twice.
I think the idea is that like we get the better version though.
That's true.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be some of that like they get exclusive, they get rewarded for skipping. Even though it's not a reward, it's just to make it more natural. But yeah,
the characters would treat you in the same way that like seasonal event NPCs treat you, in that like if you've done it in previous years, like, oh yes, I remember you, onto the quest.
Yeah.
Or like an adventurer, onto the quest.
Yeah. No, I the thing is, I think people who skip, like who want to start on a different expansion, they don't need that because they know what they're doing. Like they're like, okay, I'm skipping this part of the story. I just have to deal with that. And like you said, the unending codex, if for some reason you would be like, I want to know more about this person because I skipped their whole story arc, you can open the codex and read about them there. I
don't think they'll do this because of the fact that New Game Plus exists, but I think it would be cool if they did something similar to, you know how in Mass Effect games, if you don't import a save from a previous Mass Effect game, they have like a short little like summary that lets you make some of the choices, and then some of them are also made for you, so that like you at least have a basic understanding of what happened.
There could be like a 10-15 minute cutscene of what's happened so far, with like maybe a few input bits as well.
Depends. See, I don't know. I'm trying to think about the people who would use this system. If you like want to skip to the end of Endwalker, do you really care that much that you want to sit through a 20-minute cutscene? Do you really need dialogue to be, like I said, rewritten? Do you need all this because you know what you're doing. So you're like putting this like on yourself. Like I'm choosing to skip all this content, story, so I can get to the end game. I will catch up on this later on my own time, and that the game has the tools to do that with New Game Plus. It has the tools with the unending codex. We don't need to make it so complicated. You just give them an option, be like, you can skip to these different expansions. You click it, and you literally just start in like Heavensward or Endwalker or Stormblood. Shadowbringers. Like, that's it. And we already have that in the game, because when you do the story skip, that's exactly what happens. It just logs you out, then you log back in, and boom, you will have started like whatever expansion you've skipped to. So
you just don't have a choice of the expansion you skip to. I think they only have one.
Yes, that's true.
It always that's why they get rid of the old one.
That's why I think having like a menu, like before you start your character, is like, where do you want to start, would work. But it's up to them. We'll see what they I'm sure they're going to do something soon. So 7.0-ish probably. So we'll see. Thank you for your MogMail. Send in more MogMail at speakersxlv.com/MogMail. If you're watching live, this website's down, but it'll be back up soon. So make sure you send us more MogMail. Do remember though that next week is a live letter. So we will not have time to read MogMail. But
depending on content.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna have time because we're gonna have the trailer. They
might come out with a right-handed gaming device or something to complement the other one.
I mean, but yeah, I agree with Lakil. The trailer analysis always takes us quite a while.
True.
Yeah.
With the trailer,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Now it's time for the great discussion. And the topic, what if Endwalker was split in two? This is a discussion that has spawned out of the information we got from Yoshi P and Ishikawa and Banryoda about the original idea of Endwalker, which was to have it be potentially 2 expansions. And then Yoshi P made the decision to instead sort of condense it into one because he thought the time was ripe to finish it now and not wanted to drag it out. There are opinions on both sides of this. So we're not going to get into that discussion again. We've already done that. But pro being for splitting it up would be more time to develop certain things. The con would be literally stretching it out too much.
Yeah.
So
we'd have 2 more years of content.
Yes.
That we'd have to.
Yeah. So what we are instead going to talk about is we enter this alternate universe where they go through with the 2 expansion option, and now we're going to try to imagine what this would have looked like. So let's start with like part 1. But first of all, what do you think? Do you think Endwalker would still be the title of the first
no.
part 1?
No, because Endwalker's the bit in Ultima Thule.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That makes sense. So that would probably be the second one.
Endwalker would be the second one. This would be like...
So the
Ironfall.
Yeah, because I think we all agree that this first part is going to focus on Garlemald.
Yeah.
Which is a part that you kind of finish very quickly in Endwalker. But originally everyone thought this expansion is going to be the Garlemald expansion. Yeah.
Even the start of Endwalker, I think, would be different. I don't think if this was 2 expansions, because of what we got in Shadowbringers, they decided this a while ago. But I don't think they would have set this up such that Old Sharlayan would have been the main city for the first of these 2 expansions. I think it would have been Thavnir.
Yes, yeah, I think Thavnir probably would be the hub world, or the starting.
Would Sharlayan still be the start of the... Or would it even be included?
Would Sharlayan be included? Because I feel like
No, I don't think it
Charlian is more tied to
I
the
think Old Charlian.
Endwalker
I
story.
think Old Charlian would be the city of 7.0 at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in this story, where with Garlemald, I think we all agree that we would get more of Ilsabard probably, because we're now ignoring the moon, we're ignoring Elpis, we're ignoring.
Well, actually,
or are
I
we?
think we would still go to the moon at the end of this expansion.
Oh, that would be like
that
the
would be the
end.
final zone.
Okay. Oh yes,
It'd be the
because of
sixth
Zodiac.
Zodiac's there.
Yeah.
In our interpretation of 2 expansions, not in theirs, because
Right.
for some reason theirs ends with anima.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, theirs wasn't right.
Mm.
Theirs wasn't how it should be.
They had a bad idea.
I think it would be. We would go to Thavnair,
Yeah.
and we would do a little bit of. We'd probably do pretty much what we did in Endwalker there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We might do the other half of Thavnair as well, though, but without the end of days thing, because I don't think they'd come back to Thavnair in 7.0 because we don't go back to old zones very much.
Well, what
Like
the
end
second
days.
half of Thavnair be? I think they'd have to completely change the story. The entire.
Yeah, the story would be completely different, I think.
Do you think?
we would.
Do you think we would start maybe earlier in the fall of Garlemald? Because when we start in Endwalker, Garlemald's already
Yes.
dead. So
Oh yeah, 100%. I think we'd have like, let's say 2 or 3 Ilsabard zones, and the first one would probably be
Corvos.
like.
Do you think we'd get Corvos?
It could be Corvos, yeah, and it would be more sort of on the cusp of its fall.
That makes sense if we I think before Endwalker came out, we theorized that we would go to Thavnair and then from Thavnair get into Garlemald, and that would be Corvos would be the first thing we hit because we know that's the southern tip of Ilsabard, like the mainland.
Another potential zone would be Wurlet, which
yes.
is another potential entry point we considered.
That's true.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest losses with Endwalker in terms of Ilsabard was absolutely nothing on Hrothgar.
Yeah,
It's their home.
True.
That's true.
And I would have expected a whole like section on them.
This could have been the Hrothgar's expansion, like where they got their story fully fleshed out, because we know very little. About
we
them.
know very little about them, and almost even less about.
Well, I will
Vieira.
say you do know if you do the Gunbreaker quest, you learn quite a lot about the stuff that happened, but. MSQ. It would be nice to have, that for them.
I want to see their homeland.
Yeah.
Maybe Thavnair could have still been the small settlement, because weren't we also considering the idea that Dalmasca would have been a
Yes.
city?
Oh, now that would have been good, yeah.
I think this would have been the expansion where that part of the map would have been shown fully. Like that would have cleared the whole map.
So we could have had like Dalmasca,
Yeah.
including the jungle bit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, Golmore
Like
Jungle.
a two-tone zone, maybe.
Be a little
Maybe two
tricky.
Ilsabard zones.
Wouldn't Golmore be a little tricky considering it's part of the raid? Like, can
there's enough space. Bro. It's a
Yeah, they
massive
could just be
jungle.
like, yeah, that's true. It's just a portion of Golmore, I guess. Georgi, go on.
So zone-wise we have Thavnair, Wurlet,
Yeah.
Corvos, so that's 3.
Dalmasca.
I think you'd have to have only one Dalmascan zone.
Yeah. We could just have it split though, like
It could be split, like Thavnair.
half of it deserty, half of it.
Thavnair is split
Jungly.
in two, so they could do that with
I
Dalmasca.
will say that's a bit more. A split between a desert and a jungle would be a bit more disorienting as a zone, but I understand what you mean, Mela. I'd need to think about it a bit more.
Maybe it could have like a tunnel.
There would be a gradient. Like, I mean, deserts do go into jungles. I mean, at some point,
And you could
deserts end.
You could possibly exclude Wurlet as a zone and just have 2 Dalmascan zones.
Yeah, that would be fine too.
And then we have Garlemald, and then I would have it still end in Mare Lamentorum.
Yeah.
Those would be my 6 zones.
Yeah.
Without the Loporets.
Without the Loporrit section. I would consider the Loporrit section possibly the small settlement for 7.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Yeah.
I
And
would maybe expand Mare Lamentorum to have more underground cave areas.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, because
yeah.
Mare Lamentorum would be its
Yeah.
entire own zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that wasn't... I only had one cave little area.
Yeah.
It's 2, actually.
It wasn't good enough, though. I want like a...
That's fine.
So, yeah. So now we have all these
areas, which I would love this. I would love to just have the map uncovered and be done with it. Where does this like fit in the story? So where are we in the timeline? Like, are we like where are we just right after
It's kind
Varys
of
is killed,
just-
or are we?
Yeah, it's probably like just shifted back a little bit, so we see Garlemald start to sort of crumble, and then I guess it kind of just falls when we get to the Garlemald zone.
Yeah. Would
I
Fandaniel
would
still
say-
play like a big role? Where's like Xenos and Fandaniel in this? Because they're like a factor as well in here. That we need
Yeah,
to...
I would say that Xenos and Fandaniel face greater resistance, and I would decrease the power of Anima's tempering ability so that it's
Yeah.
not the entire city.
Right.
Yeah.
Would we split Anima and make it a trial like we thought it was going to be instead of just a
Yeah, Anima
dungeon
would be
boss?
trial.
Yeah.
Anima would be the level 89 trial.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be the last trial before we go to the moon.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the Mega Sisters would be the first trial.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is what we expected it all to be, and it never turned out that way. at all.
Yeah. We mentioned Dalmasca. Why do we go to Dalmasca then? For help?
Build resistance.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
the resistance allies.
Yeah. Because that would make sense. I'm surprised we didn't
'Cause-
hear... Yeah, go on.
Well, no, because as it is, we do get some of them,
We do.
but
do.
they just come
appear.
to Girabania.
Mhm.
Yeah, everyone just.
It would be
appears in
nice if we
Girabania.
actually had to go there, help them with their defense,
Yeah.
or like building up a resistance themselves, and then they can join us.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can get some Vieira lore on the side.
And maybe we would figure out what happened to what's his name? The guy who died off screen in the
Gabranth.
Oh,
yeah, Gabranth.
Yeah, Gabranth,
maybe, and maybe we would know more about Lady Ash,
I mean,
which is still like so
that
up
would
in
be
the air.
nice. We could have explored the conflict of Gabranth and Ash and Fran in
Yeah, we could
the
have brought
Dalmascan
Fran
part
into
of the
the actual
expansion.
story.
Yeah, I would love that.
None of the characters really joined in. Nothing
issue-
from Evilise joined in.
No, the main
no.
issue with that is that it would make Bosio required, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is something that they would not want to do.
That's fair. But I would. It's weird to like deal with a Dalmasca and then ignore that part.
Yeah,
'cause-
I know.
Especially
I
Lady
agree.
Ash, because she's like the
They just
queen.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted it to be this big, and then
Yeah.
they randomly
No.
made it this big.
In
Yeah.
my ideal version of this expansion, we would be dealing with these things as part of the MSQ.
Yeah. Okay, final boss, Zodiark.
Zodiac
Yes.
definitely
Yeah.
the final boss.
Yeah.
Uh,
Van Daniel,
there
anything
might
to do?
even be a dungeon leading up to him.
Oh yeah,
like a
we
moon
have. That's another
dungeon.
interesting thing. It's like the dungeon aspect of this. But before we do that, let's. Will Fandaniel have anything to do with the Zodiark fight in this version? Because that would mean
I
the end
think-
of Fandaniel in this expansion.
But it was the
think
end
so.
of Pandaniel anyway.
Yeah.
Overall. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
I could live with that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And I think it would end
Well.
with the
Or would you-
scream from
Mm,
the end singer.
Would you want to get rid of Xenos at this point?
No.
Mm.
He's going to
No.
come with us to the end of the world.
But do
Well-
we need him?
do we need him?
Yeah, because he flies or whatever. I don't.
Remember, we're talking about part 1. This will also greatly change part 2, which was
Yeah.
Endwalker.
I mean,
So
I think losing Fandaniel in the part 2, not having Fandaniel at all for part 2, would be a loss.
I think
in
so
my
too.
opinion.
I think so too.
He didn't participate greatly from then on.
But Fandaniel has a link to what we're going to deal with in the second part.
Yeah.
And he isn't so much linked to like Garlemald and that story, if you know what I mean? Like Zodiark in that sense.
No,
So,
but we got we pulled Elizabeth back into the story. To,
Yeah, but that
to
was only
gain
for
more-
like one
Yeah, we can
cutscene.
pull Fandaniel back into the story as like a shade or something. I don't know.
but what I would like would be to not have Fandaniel be Zodiark. I would want
No, I would much prefer.
I would just want to fight Zodiac and have that be the
Oh,
epic
yeah.
conclusion to the story.
I would
Oh,
have
it'll
much
be
preferred
Xenos
that.
Zodiac. It'll be the
Or, yeah,
second
or
final boss
Xenos
that speaks with
Zodiac.
Xenos' voice.
Yeah.
Xenos could have revealed which Unsundered he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'd explore a lot more of Xenos' backstory in this version of
Yeah.
the
We would find out who
the
his
expansion.
avatar is.
We would that's the thing because because we have so much more time to like dive into like Garlemald's story. We would probably learn a lot about his like childhood and shit.
His
like,
upbringing, why he is the way he is.
yeah,
Mhm.
You might even hate him less.
maybe,
You never know.
maybe. Be difficult. That would be very difficult to do. I don't know if they could pull that off.
You never know. But we would definitely find out the important things about him.
But
which
see,
they teased, like his avatar.
yeah, but from a story perspective, if that's what we're doing in this expansion, where we like learn all this shit about like Xenos' upbringing, maybe we get some sympathy. Would be perfect for him to die at the end there and have his story sort of come to a close in that expansion.
And what if he didn't? What if we like started to sympathize with him and we're like, actually, you're not too bad, and he doesn't like choose to go. He gets killed by Fandaniel.
See, well, I mean,
And then we're like, oh,
Maybe-
man,
I feel like-
we were just starting to like.
I feel
these
like you're
Xenos.
changing Xenos' character.
yeah.
That's getting into Xenos as a party member type thing, which I don't want.
Yeah.
You only feel that way about him through knowing his past. That he doesn't change as a character.
But I think it's nice that we gain sympathy, but he just doesn't change.
Yeah,
He's
exactly,
still
yeah.
Xenos.
Yes, that's
so-
what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So he doesn't change his characteristics or how he acts, but we just know so much more. We're like, oh, actually,
yeah.
I don't know about this Xenos.
Yeah.
So, it's okay.
But I think
Poor
him
baby
dying in
Xenos.
part 1 probably makes, because that's sort of okay. End of Garlemald. Xenos is like the crown prince
Yes.
of Garlemald. Well, actually emperor at the time, and then that's it. It's over. He's dead. So is Zodiac. Part 1, Finn. I think that would
No,
be.
it
Well,
ends with
but
the scream as a
Yes.
teaser,
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
and we're like, oh no.
But we talked about dungeons, so we're gonna jump into
Yeah,
that now.
okay.
Yeah. What do you think the dungeons would be like? What would be the first dungeon of this? Would it be Zot?
No,
That
I don't think
makes
Zot's
sense.
first one. I think Zot precedes the Mega Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
trial.
So that would be like
Okay.
the second
I
dungeon.
Yeah.
I think Zot would be the level 83 dungeon then.
Yeah.
I think the level 81 dungeon would possibly be in Dalmasca or
Okay.
Corvus.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
Let's say Dalmasca would be nice. Maybe it could be like a dungeon about fighting the like occupants or something, like to help with their resistance push, just to do.
Because
last little bit
because
of helping
Garlemald is
them.
like falling apart. Maybe soldiers
Yeah.
are like just fucking going mad. But
No, maybe I think I prefer the 81 dungeon to be in Corvus because that's more Ilsabadi,
yeah.
and then have the 84 to like 86-ish story be set in Dalmasca.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we touch base on Corvus, but
Yeah.
because Garlemald's still in full swing, we can't attack it directly,
Right.
so we have to retreat.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We take
We need
down
more
Zot,
backup.
Yeah.
kill the Major Sisters or whatever they're called,
Yeah.
chuck ourselves over to Dalmasca. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
We could learn a bit more about like all the Zodiac bosses we fight, like Hashmal and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Some lore.
Could get a bit of Dalmascan lore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because they don't fit that well into our game. They're just there. It
How
might be
about-
nice to tie them more into the game's world.
Yeah.
How about this? And this might not be something you like because it does something that we've had a problem with in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Golmore Jungle is the 85 dungeon, and we're helping. And like up until that point, the VR are like, we're not helping you with fighting Garlemald. We're staying like neutral in this.
Mm-hmm.
We're staying in our little jungle village. But then Garlemald attacks them, and that's how we are able to convince them to join our side.
Good idea.
Okay. Yeah.
At least
Can
we
see
get
that.
like we can have like the edge of the jungle then
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
zone, but
And
the
that-
dungeon is deeper into it.
The thing, yeah, like Chad's pointing out, we've already been to Golmore, so it's gonna be like, oh, kind of like
Yeah, but
doing-
it's a new
It will be.
part of it.
It'll be the name. It'll be the name. The dungeon will be the name of the Vieira settlement in the same way that
Yeah.
like Vanispati is a dungeon.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. So we're like
get a bit
coming
of
to the
Vieira
rescue.
lore.
We're coming to their aid as they're being attacked by the
Yes,
Garleans. Okay,
and that allows us to have Whirlet as a zone.
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
that sounds good.
We don't have to go through everything, but we're sort of getting the idea here. What do you think what's the final dungeon? Like the level 90 dungeon.
It must be something on
Something
the
on
moon.
the moon.
That's like the moon dungeon.
It could be the Cradle of Darkness. It could have been just not just a chasm. It could have been something we had to.
Maybe there's something down
navigate.
there. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
interesting. Like because right now the Chasm of Darkness where Zodiac spawns is just a hole
It's
that
just
we can't
there.
enter.
So we do Cradle of Darkness, and then we get to the end.
And that's what leads to the Zodiac fight.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
even like Xenos is the last boss.
Maybe, yeah, well, I can see that. Like,
Yeah,
that,
I mean, that was
yeah.
Stormblood 2.0, but
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of, but yeah.
the Tower of Babel would be the 89 dungeon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
And then maybe we visit Whirlet early on as well. Like the split is Corvos Whirlet at the start.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 87 dungeon is in Whirlet.
Whirlet's like the Thavnair of
Yeah.
this one,
Yeah,
where you have to go back later for a... Yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
Mhm. Well, we have to go back to Thavnair in our version as well because it's the
Well,
83
yeah.
dungeon.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that's that feels like we got the rough outline of part 1 here.
I mean, the difficult thing with this is that we now have 5 patches.
Yeah, then there's
Raise
5
it.
patches. So I mean, we're all setting. Yeah, that's the problem. But
That's the hard
I
part.
think the following patches would be the reconstruction and like repair of Garlemald and Ilsabard and all. Remember, that's what that's the thing that I
Yes,
think
I
about
agree
with
with
Garlemald.
you,
Is that
yeah.
imagine the Empire has fallen, and now you have Dalmasca, which is just like, what the fuck? Corvos, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Like, there's all
Yeah,
of these
we're-
things that now
we're
need
repairing
to
the
be
world.
repaired.
Yeah, we got 5 patches of political
Essentially.
reconstruction.
Essentially.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It doesn't all have to be political,
The
but
last 2 or 3 patches will be like the beginnings of the end.
yeah, that's when
The
we're
final
setting up for
days.
the final. Yeah. Yeah, and I
I
think
think we'll also be introduced to the Loporits at some point during the later patches on the
They
moon.
could have been a beast tribe as well.
yeah. That's true. They could be introduced as beast tribes already in
No,
part
I think
1.
they should. I personally think the Loporit should still be a 8.0 or 7.0 beast tribe in this scenario.
Okay.
Because I don't think. I think it's through the Loporits that we find out about old Charlie or Charlian's plans.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't want that
Yes.
to happen until 7.0.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Well, yeah, who are the beast tribes then? Or sorry, the beast. No, sorry, the tribe.
Akrasdara.
Yeah, the Exodara is a given, I think.
Arkasodra. Yeah. I don't know. The Benga.
Oh yeah. We
Oh
can
shit,
get
yeah, because we have Dalmasca, so we can have the Banga.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh god, I hate that we're talking about this because I kind of low key want this.
Yeah, the Benga and the Sikh.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
would
know
be
if we
fun.
can have the Sikh
There you go.
beast
There's your.
tribe.
Yeah.
Oh, we need 3, Mela.
Yeah, we have 3.
Oh, all right, fine.
Yeah. Just have them all be Dalmasca.
Right.
The
That's
Vieira.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah,
Prime is now
I've thought about-
one of those NP. What are they called?
the what?
The NPCs you do the weeklies for.
The weeklies.
You know, the like crafting
Oh,
gallery
a,
weeklies.
Oh,
what are they called?
Custom delivery
Yeah,
client.
custom delivery.
For the final
Yeah.
dungeon, I've thought, you know how there's ancient stuff on the moon. Could we go through a recreation of how they ended up summoning Zodiac?
Oh,
Oh.
that could have been interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go for
Because
that.
I don't, because while the moon, like the Cradle of Darkness is cool, we don't really have any lore about it,
Right.
so it wouldn't have. I can't imagine that as being as interesting.
Maybe it could
But, like-
phase between the. Maybe it could like be us going through the past of how they summoned them, but then when we get right to the end, we're suddenly in the
Mhm.
present
Mhm.
and we fight
Mhm.
Xenos in the Cradle of Darkness.
Yeah. Okay, so the lead up to the next expansion, 7 Endwalker, I think would progress pretty similarly. Where like we're starting to see the signs of like the
Yeah,
end.
the people start turning, but very slowly. You know, maybe
Mhm.
1 or 2 people turn.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
little bit
yeah.
of star showers maybe here and there, but not like
Yeah.
not super deep.
Yeah.
And the reason we end up going to Old Charlian is because this expansion starts with Old Charlian announcing that the end of days are here, and we will
Yeah.
be going to the moon, or going. Yeah, we'll be going to the moon and finding something else.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
So Charlian and Labyrinthos.
Yeah,
would
I
be
think
like
those
the
zones
beginnings.
would be a given here. But now we have a lot of because we already have the moon in part 1. So what are we? So
We
part
don't
2,
need to go to Elpis straight away.
Endwalker zones. What's
Or
happening?
we could have 2 ancient zones.
Well, I definitely think we need more ancient zones probably, because what else? What is happening in this part? What is happening in Endwalker?
The end days are upon us in full swing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Old Charlian as the starting city, and I agree that Labyrinthos makes sense. That's connected to Old Charlian, so we definitely have that zone.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with you, chap.
Amarat?
We find out that Amarot is
Yeah.
underneath Silvertear Lakes.
Oh no, that's not what I necessarily think. I think there should be 2 zones in the Unsundered World.
Yeah, I think Amarat definitely should be a
That's fine
zone.
too.
That is a good. That is a. Yeah, we don't the voice on. We already talked about what's under Silvertear Lake. This has been an old discussion. Okay, so yeah, I think Amarat would make sense. Where else do we go?
So we got Amarat, we got Elpis, because I think we need both.
Yeah,
We've got
Charlian.
we've got
Labyrinthos.
Labyrinthos. The small settlement would be Bestaway Burrows, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You could honestly have an entire zone that is like Smileton, like the mechanics of how the moon works. Like we have access to like the engine and stuff. There's like you would make it a much larger zone.
Like the
Yeah.
the ship part of the moon, like
Yes.
a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course Ultima Thule. I think we would still.
Well,
Yeah.
Ultimate Thule would probably have to still be the end.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think we need. Maybe you can give Charlian 2 zones.
Why not? Why not have? Because Labyrinthos is underground,
Yeah.
and we only see the city. Why not the island? an
Right.
outside
I think
station?
because we need a zone a new zone
Mhm.
where they can show the effects of the final days.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would be okay with that. Having an extra like an like overworld Charlian would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Story wise, what's happening? So we're starting at the declaration of like emergency, the state of emergency with
State of emergency. So, Fortunal or whatever he's called
yeah.
Yeah.
is maybe he's going around to places. Maybe we catch up with him in Thavner or something. Because when he comes along and he's like, "Oh, we're going to the moon," we're like, "Oh, damn."
Yeah. Been there, done
We wanna
that,
go.
huh?
Yeah, we want to come to the moon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
and then
how we sort of go over there.
Yeah.
Well, then that's how we learn about the we don't learn directly about the Loporits, but we're like, how do they know all these things about the moon? So we go to
Yeah.
investigate the moon.
So he's got all of his like reconciling with Alphino and Alizé to come. So it's going to have to be a bit more rushed, but
Yeah.
we go there. Obviously, we can't
I mean,
get to
I think-
Labyrinthos straight away.
Right. Well, what's really
Do the
interesting that
probably do the overworld.
I'm
zone first,
realizing
right?
that there's something that we haven't really considered about part 1, and that's that we introduced Thavner, which Thavner is so linked to the end of days plot in Endwalker.
Only because that's how they.
Yeah,
they
but
didn't have enough zones.
Only
Well, how do we deal with Vritra? Uh-oh, I've introduced another element.
Garlemald's attacking them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we fixed it. All right, moving on. Part 2.
We
Yeah,
can still, we can still have the like.
it
meeting
can happen
with
during the
Vritra
patches. That's true.
Oh yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a good point. That like
Yeah.
we convince Vritra throughout the patches to become a public figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
It just happen more naturally,
Yeah.
slowly.
Yeah. Okay, yes. So back to part 2. So the end of days.
We could get Midgard Soma involved.
We could.
He could appear as a shade, like that one
The
he
little
did in
minion?
in Keeper of the Lake when he
Yeah.
was like a ghost.
Yeah.
He
Or-
could like sneak out the wall and be like, Vritra,
Well, he could. Well,
you must fight.
he could just be the minion as well.
Or the minion too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
The
think it'd be
small-
cool to have him interacting with Vritra.
Mm-hmm.
The small settlement and the large settlement for part 1 of this 2-part expansion chat are Dalmasca and Thavnir.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
we've gone. We're doing some little investigating on
Yeah.
Charlene.
Yeah. How do we end
How
up?
do we end up in the ancient world?
Yeah. See,
Well, the
Suppose
ancient world,
it just happened in this one as well, didn't it? It just sort of happened.
it just kind of happened.
we end up there because we were like, we don't have any. We still need like the Elpis flower.
Oh, the
plot point, so that's
Elpis
why we're in
flower,
Labyrinthos.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just slightly more quickened.
I
in
think
terms
the
of-
Endwalker part is going to be easier to just be like, because that's going to be more similar to what we actually got, because that's the story
Yes.
that wasn't rushed
That's
as
pretty
much.
much the story from 84 onwards.
Yeah, exactly. So
we just basically do that.
I'm going to follow a lot of the
I
same.
think
It's more expanded.
I think the first 2 zones would be Labyrinthos in the similar way that where you only get the top half, and the inside of the moon, and that's where we get all the Loporrit nonsense. And because it's at the start, it doesn't necessarily feel as out of place for many people.
Right.
True.
Yeah. In the ancient world, when we get there, I don't think a lot will change. I think the only things we're gonna
we'd
have.
start in Elpis still.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you
We could do a
sure?
lot of-
Because don't you think it would be like, because we're like, oh, we're in Elpis, and then they talk about like Amarot maybe, and then you're like,
Yeah,
then you remember.
we
They start hyping it up a little, and they're like, let's go to Amarot.
I
and then
think saving Amarot for second would hype people up.
I think
and
that
be
would be
like,
more
oh,
impactful. Because
especially if it was super secret
yeah.
and like we thought we were.
What,
in
Amarot?
Elpis. Yeah, like they're like, oh, we've gone to Elpis, and then people are
I
like,
think
oh,
that-
will we go? Will we go? And then
I think the
eventually,
idea would be that we don't know what Elpis is, and we never find out what Elpis is. We go to Amarot because we actually know what that is, and once we're in the past, we find out about Elpis.
it could happen.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, let's go Amarot first. I think Amarot first is because that makes sense. We know what that is, and then during the quest, at some point, we learn, like you said, about Elpis.
Perhaps we could meet more of the convocation.
Yeah.
Or at least not necessarily meet them, but like witness them.
Mm-hmm.
See what like the busy city life is like.
Yeah.
And then maybe we meet Emmett Salk and Hythlodaeus there, and they sort of just take us along.
That would be a more
I
natural
think we meet
way to.
Hythlodaeus first,
Yeah.
and then we don't meet Emmett Silk till after.
I think it would also be a more natural way to meet them than we do in the current Endwalker, because they might just be like walking along, the road.
They could even do it in like a really nice way where Hythlodaeus is in the same spot he is in Amarot.
Well, I feel like he would be behind the counter because he actually works there. But
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
And then
It is
we're like,
honestly,
oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of strange that he's not behind the counter when we go there in
Yeah.
Shadowbringers.
True. Yeah. He's just actually just sitting there. He's sitting in the
just
Yeah.
chilling.
waiting room or whatever, so it's weird. Okay. So yeah, that happens, and I think a lot of the stuff that happens in Elpis with the like, a lot of that can happen in Amarot as well. Like,
Yeah.
So the discussion about God, I've already forgotten his name. Emmett Selk and Hythlodaeus is there to talk to man who makes Bluebird. And
Hermes.
Hermes. And they don't necessarily need to have that discussion in Elpis.
No. How would we know to go back in time? Because the Loporrits tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Because
and
they've been around forever.
yeah.
They're the ones who are the guardians of Heidelin.
And I will say, in terms of
Whatever.
MSQ, I don't think we need to touch a lot of the story. The story, I think,
No.
can play out as it did in Endwalker.
Yeah.
It's just that the locations will change a little because we have more more stuff. Like we have more zones.
Exactly.
And so
We
we
just
can
get to
add to them a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I think in Amarok we'd probably get more of the ancient background stuff, which would leave Alpis more time to focus on Hermes to actually expand his character.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we might
I think
he's better.
we defeat Hermes as the 83 trial.
Okay.
After an end of days siege on the above ground Charlian zone that we've made up.
Okay.
Okay.
So you wanted that earlier.
And then, yes, I think Elidibus becomes Hermes at that point.
Mm.
And maybe he says something that could be another trigger that like makes us think, oh, we need to go back in time and figure out more information here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. And
'Cause
then,
I think Hermes has to be one of the trials,
yeah.
and then we might not fight Hermes in that form in Elpis. Maybe
Yes,
he'll just
true.
Right,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe that's when we fight Kairos.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
It would be 93 in this timeline, yes.
Yeah, 93.
Yeah,
and
93.
97.
So the three trials would be Hermes, Heidelin, still. That's still going to end up being the same, and Meteor,
yeah.
Endsinger.
Yes.
Endsinger.
Yeah, so the story will then progress. We do so leading up to the Heidelin fight. Anything that we want to change here? Anything we want to add? Or do you think this will
The
play out?
Ichthyscope and the Heidelin stuff is still fun.
Yeah, that was really
Yeah,
good.
I think that's fine as well. Okay, so the leading up to Meteon. Do you think? Okay, so
Well, that's why we have two zones to learn about Meteon.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we meet Hermes and Meteon first in the ancient period, ancient
That
time.
would be an
Amaro.
interesting change. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not? Why
and
not?
then we're like, we don't know who they are.
Right.
And so we're trying to find people that we do know. So we look for Thlidaeus and Emetzel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be fine.
They definitely need more expansion though. The two characters. If
Yes.
they're going to be this important.
Yes.
They needed
Mm.
more.
And I
yeah.
think that will be what the biggest change we're making to the MSQ here is just adding more backstory to people here, I think.
Yeah.
Ending, like, what's the last dungeon of this version of Endwalker? Will it still be...
I don't mind
Still
the
the
dead ends.
dead ends. Dead
Okay.
ends is fine.
Yeah, we're not making
I
any
think
change.
basically Ultimate Thule remains the same.
So the
'cause
last half is
it was
just,
pretty
yeah.
good.
I don't think we need to change any of that, really.
No.
No. So the
Still
81
has all the
dungeon.
good scenes like Orianche. That has to remain.
I think
Yeah.
I think the 81 dungeon is some equivalent of Smileton. We're helping the Loperates with, or maybe like
the big cheese. Let's just do Smileton. The big cheese is
something like that.
Yeah.
And then the 83 dungeon is the equivalent of Anaspati, but it's in Charlian. And then the 85 and the 87 dungeons, something in the ancient world.
Yeah.
Well, 87 would still be Katisa's Hyperborea, but 85, I don't know. What that would be.
85.
We might actually
Let's get a third Anida dungeon.
Yeah, like remember remember that whole like of the 12, like the 12 elements thing that we just sort of see but never hear anything more about. We could do something tied to that, learn more about maybe a dungeon tied to that.
Yeah.
Who knows? We don't really understand how it works. Sorry, when we say 80, we mean 90.
90
yeah.
Maybe it's something like with that, not necessarily that volcano that Azem ends up like stopping at some point, but something like that, where like, oh, where's Azem? And then we turn up.
Yeah. And we fulfill the role.
Yeah.
Because we are them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Yeah. And that would
ends at the same, and that means we would get lots of cool extremes.
Yeah.
And I think Vanar is fine first appearing in Elpis. I think she doesn't need to appear that early.
No, I think she should be a
Vanar's
reveal.
appearance was very well done.
Yeah, I don't think we need to
Yes.
touch any of that. I think it was very well done.
You just need more on the new people.
Yes. Giving us time to
Hermes.
learn about Meteon and Hermes. That's why I think it's good that we meet them first. So we build like some sort of relationship with them. Because that was my biggest problem with Endwalkers, that it happens a little too quickly, everything. You know. Yeah.
Amarot as a zone would be interesting because it is technically supposed to be a field zone, so it would be full of enemies still. So, but like the thing is, there'd be like Rollo's favorite, the Cubus. There'd be like
is everywhere.
Cubus is in the streets.
Yeah.
There'd be like things that like aren't dangerous to ancients. Like to them, consider them like bugs, but to us as a not ancient, they're still dangerous to us.
But also remember, we get to walk around in Amarot normal size.
Yes.
So we get to actually experience
it
to scale, which would also be a bit of. That's why I think even though Amarot already exists as an overworld zone, just being able to be normal, like to scale with the city, would be enough for people to be like, wow.
Exactly.
Maybe the idea is that like because we have a smaller, our ether is so thin, the enemies are like a weak target. Let's attack them.
Yeah.
Or it could just be some weird, like, timey-wimey, like, rift monsters or something that only we can see. Or there's ways of just shooting.
There's ways you could go around it. Yeah.
And also remember the Amarot that exists in the overworld on Shadowbringers is still Emmett Selk's like reimagining of it. So
it's not the real thing.
It might not actually be completely accurate either. Like the main buildings surely are, but so there's they can use that as an Go on.
Imagine a whole zone that's like the world and the world that never was, Lakil.
Oh boy.
That's what Amarot is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the story, I guess.
That's what we would do anyway, but
yeah, that's what we would do.
Unfortunately, that's not what's happened. So.
I wouldn't say. Well, as you can tell, like the second part is very similar to Endwalker. What really is the problem is that the first part with Garlemald could have been so much more if it had been split.
And all those things you loved in the late game of Endwalker would have so much more time to be expanded and enjoyed even more.
Yeah.
Like obviously it would be more stretched, and it would, would have to wait and all that. So it's not bad they did it this way. It's just, it's nice to think.
Yes, and I think that's that. That's the conclusion. Endwalker as it is still good, but it would have been good if we split it in two as well. Both would have been wins, I think. Right. That's it. We're going to wrap up here. Thanks for watching this episode of Speakers of Heidelin. We'll be back next week.
Wow.
Same time, same place.
Which is next month.
That is true, actually. So we will be covering the live letter in the next episode. So make sure you catch that. The post show will start after this. Make sure you catch that as well. And remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersOfHeidelin, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, !Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord server. And if you're watching on demand, link is in the description. And send us MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail. But do keep in mind that we may not be able to read them next week, but if we will definitely read them the week following that, probably. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you in the next next one, which is the post show. If you're watching live. Oh, and Sunday Fun Day is tomorrow, and we'll be playing CK3. See you there. Yeah. Bye.